It's time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shot.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? It's your boy Dave in the 702, Sin City, coming to you live from my podcast studio for another special Monday night Shoe Shine edition. Joining me all the way from the city of brotherly love, Philly Irish Drew EVo. Drew, que pasa, homie?
What's up, Dave? Thank God that studio's not a closet.
I could be podcasting from a closet, man. I'm happy, man. I'm really starting to feel happy in my new home here in Las Vegas, and I appreciate everyone that's been hanging with you and I ever since way back, and the new setup and all the changes that come with just being in the part of the YouTube community. I appreciate everyone here tonight to talk about, has boxing hit a new low? And for this special episode, in case you guys are watching it in the replay, Drew EVo and I will be exchanging low blows for the next 60 minutes. That's our content for tonight. Drew, did you get that? Did you get that message?
Nah, I just did. Your phone's like slow as shit, Dave. What the hell have you got? An old ass Samsung?
Oh yeah, man. Shout out to everybody who's joining us. I'm gonna have a 805 and enjoy this. Shout out to Nando Ryan. Appreciate you guys. I just tweeted it out. I know, man. Philly Irish in the room. Chicano Prophet is here, man. I appreciate you guys hanging with us, man, because we have some interesting stuff, man. We had another weekend of controversy, Drew. I wish it wasn't one of these tainted controversial wins, man. I'm a big fan of Usyk. I think, what he did as cruiserweight was undeniably spectacular and great. Almost better than what George Foreman did. And now he's got 3 of the heavyweight titles. And I just wish this was a clean performance that wasn't mired by controversy this weekend. So it is what it is, Drew. We have to debate it just like every other podcast on the YouTube, on every other platform. We got to look at the damn belt line and see, what happened there on Saturday night. It was a doubleheader put on to you by ESPN, coming to you from Poland. We know that Usyk can't fight out of the Ukraine, but he was in a home type environment, even though Poland unfortunately is not the Ukraine, and the Ukrainian people are going through something awful.
3 hours away. Yeah,
the president of the Ukraine gave a speech, and it was supposed to be kind of a homecoming fight of sorts, right? And a lot of pressure on him to perform. Someone recently we saw fight home who was having his homecoming performance was Regis Prograis. And he had a fucking off night, bro. He really disappointed his local fans. And I ain't saying Usyk disappointed his fans because he came away with a KO.
Yeah, he won the fight.
He went and he dominated the fight. But that low blow, and we're going to get into that picture. Everybody's still talking about it today. It's Monday, and we're talking about it at night. And I want to know, Drew, you were telling me that you were on the phone recently with somebody kind of important in Pennsylvania. And I'd like for you to share the story with our audience. All
right, let me get my notepad, because I actually did write down everything that he said. Here's the thing. Technically, it's an off-the-record conversation. I can't reveal his name and everything. He asked me not to. And I was happy that he gave me 10 minutes of his time and everything. He gave me 10 minutes of his time. So he gave me 10 minutes. We talked and everything. And the question that I gave him was, can you give me your input on this fight over the weekend, the Usyk fight and everything? Like, I know he told me he's a former referee too and everything. And he retired from refereeing about 10 years ago, joined the athletic commission and everything. And I asked him this. In this fight, how do they go by with giving the instructions when it comes to like low blows and everything? What's clean, what's not clean, and everything. Told me the first thing they look at is the belt line. They tell people where it's good at on the belt line, where it's not good at. First order of business, and like he says, and then in his opinion, he was like this. I That's how I gave instructions. Then I asked him, "You watched the fight?" He's like, "Yes, I also watched that, that clip that when Usyk was supposedly low blowed at, and watched it a couple of times. And to me, that's a low blow," he said. Because the thing about it is, the belt line is the key to this whole argument. And in fact, yes, the belt line was up a little bit on his belly button. But the rules, one of the rules are, any part of that fist glove lands below that belt line, that is considered a low blow. Now, the belt line was up. His trunks were up on his belly button. The question is that I want to ask for everybody here, can they answer this question? Because people are claiming robbery, that it wasn't a low blow and everything. DUbois was robbed. When his trunks were up, can you tell me without a shadow of a doubt, 100%, where was that belly button at on those trunks when it was covered up? Was it like the circle on that belt line in the middle? Can you tell me where at on that circle was Usyk's belly button? 100% without a shadow of doubt. Can you tell me that, Dave?
If you'd like to call in, you guys can call in 702-710-3627. Where was the freaking belly button? And I like how at the post-press conference, Drew, Usyk made a point with his management team to, show off the belly button and whatnot. But I got a question to ask you. But the veteran referee Pabon out of Puerto Rico, did he, because I wasn't paying too close attention at the beginning of the fight, but did he instruct them about where their shorts were? Because this is, we see this right before every fight. Your shorts are a little high. Your shorts should be pulling them down. Your shorts should be here. Did they skip that?
Tell you the truth, wasn't paying attention really at that point. I'm not sure. They had instructions in the back of the dressing room like they normally do when they talk to each fighter and everything.
Right.
But
Ryan says he never saw them mark the trunks. That's my issue. That was my issue, Drew, you're bringing up, is if his shorts were too high, then I think Pabon made the right judgment call on the spot. Because, I listened to a lot of podcasts this morning while working today, and I did hear our good friend Beeb, who makes a very good point. There's no way from his reference point of view that he could have legitimately seen the perfect angle to that body shot. He did not see it perfectly. And without without the luxury that the NFL and baseball has with recalls and being able to watch instant replay, he determined it was a low blow on the spot. So you have to go with that. Unfortunately, did I think so? Bro, no, I'm going to be real with you. Both me and my wife thought, holy shit, Usyk just went down from a body shot. And it looked like a clean body shot as it was happening. And the more I looked at the replays, and I thought, well, shit, it's questionable. It's very questionable about the placement of where that shot was.
Like,
I want to ask you, though, Drew, if I can converse with you. I want to ask you and everybody else, too. My thought and my feeling is that Usyk, had that fight been in the UK, and they gave the benefit of the doubt and started counting, I think Usyk would have easily have gotten up. I think he put on. Once he knew it was a low blow. I knew he got the air sucked right out of him. And he said, fuck that. I'm going to do a veteran tactic move. I'm the world champion. It's my right. I'm going to take the entire 5 minutes allotted. The referee says it's a low blow. I'm going to roll with that. And I'm going to get back into this fight when I'm ready, which was extremely smart because he ended up pitching a perfect shutout. Skills-wise, DUbois is not on his level. Did he knock down the world champion with 3 belts, Usyk? Man, I'm still on the fence, guys. I need your help, man. Give us a call. I got a call right now. Nando, we got 2 calls, so let's take these calls quick, Drew.
Can you answer the question for me real quick?
Yeah.
Without a shadow of doubt, 100%. Do you know where that belly button been at?
Nah, it was high. His belt was high, but I don't know. Anything below the belly button, I get it, is a low blow.
Yeah.
Pabon is the referee, and Pabon, there's a lot of referees coming forward saying, I would have gone this way, gone that way.
Yeah.
I have to go with what the referee saw. It's not like he's one of the worst referees in the sport of boxing.
Here's the thing. This commission guy also said if this was belonging to them if it would have been ruled a legal shot and Usyk would have lost because of it, if Usyk's team would have went to them and appealed that, they would have ruled it in the commission status. They would have ruled that fight a no contest and made an orderly rematch between them two. But if DUbois was to do a appeal on this, DUbois had no evidence that would support his claim that was a clean shot. It wasn't enough evidence to show, they said.
All right, let's go to the phone lines, the 5 and Dime, and then we'll take 503, the 5 and Dime. You are on with the Shoe Shine. ¿Qué onda?
Hey, what's up, Dave? What's up, Drew? How you guys doing?
Nando, we're doing good, man. Man, Russ, I've seen some of your tweets, man. So how you feeling about this on Monday now?
Well, look, first of all, I'm not a fanboy, dude. Like, I wasn't exactly going against Usyk or for him. I just wanted to see a good fight, right? And I was just enjoying the fight. I thought Usyk was winning the fight, you know. But I did notice, dude, that guy, when people go to the body, even before that punch to the body, he kind of looks at the referee like to help him out. Like when DUbois would go to his sides, to his ribs, he would kind of look at the referee like, hey man, don't let him punch me there, you know. And it's not the first time Usyk acts like that, man. He's real sensitive to the body, man. And you said it yourself, Dave. Maybe it was a smart fucking veteran move by Usyk. It's like the same crap you see in soccer, man, where they roll around on the ground like they just got murdered and nothing really happened. You know, it's the same mentality, man. You know, they play the refs.
I think
and so I don't know, man.
I think he would have got up. I think he would have got up. He's a very proudful champion, world champion. He's been in a lot of adverse positions, but this one would have been one of his worst. I believe he would have found a way to rally back in those 2.5 minutes, but it was a treacherous situation, and he knew the air was sucked out of him. It was a brutal, perfectly placed body shot. Maybe it was low, maybe it wasn't. But I don't think he was going to stay there, indefinitely. I think he would have got up and fought. Tried to have fought back, but we won't know. We won't know because they didn't score it a knockdown.
You know what? Well, I'll tell you this much, dude. It's interesting to me that right away, every member of the boxing media, Dan Rayfield, all these guys came to Usyk's rescue right away, like Captain Sableho. You know, they were immediately on the. I think Dan Rayfield even posted like a picture of the wrong punch just to bail out Usyk, man. You know, it's pretty obvious, dude. Like when you're a boxing media darling. Mm-hmm. They will write any narrative they need to keep you on top, man. And that's what they do for Usyk, man. They're keeping him on top. They're making every excuse for him. Like, honestly, dude, I think he deserved to win the fight. He was a better fighter. I'm actually kind of happy in a way that he did win because nobody wants to see DUbois against Tyson Fury.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to see that fight because nobody wants to see that fight. DUbois packed it in at the end of the fight, whatever, right? But just isolating this one situation. It was obvious to me. It's not the first time that Usyk's done that. He did it against Anthony Joshua too. When he thought he got punched low, which was right on the belt, he started looking up at the sky and praying to God and doing a holy cross, like he had been run. His belt had got run again. You know, it's not the first time Usyk does this, man.
Well, I think
it's the second time. In fact, the first time was with the same referee.
I think you bring up a fantastic point for conversation here, Drew. Is the body of Usyk his Achilles heel? I have seen this pattern now, and it's one that is of great concern. And actually, it's got me really concerned now when he faces Tyson Fury. If and when he faces Tyson Fury.
Can I ask you a question? Because to tell you the truth, I believe you'll answer the question. Because it tell you the truth, you're just you're a viewer. You have nothing to really hide and everything. You're just gonna tell you how it is. Without a shadow of a doubt, 100%, without a shadow of doubt, when he had his trunks up, able to find out where that belt button is on that belt line.
Are you asking me, Drew?
Yeah, I'm asking you because I think you'll answer it.
Well,
people are dodging the question.
Look,
answer it.
No. My initial reaction, right? Like I immediately posted it on Twitter. That was on the belt. I don't know where the belly button is, but I sure do damn know that was nowhere near his balls or his dick. And that's why I think, like, you know, it's one thing, dude. I've been in fights, dude. You punch you in the stomach, it fucking hurts. Like, no doubt about it. But there's a whole different thing when someone hits you on the nuts, whether it's accident or on purpose. That's a whole different thing, man. That's a whole different pain. And that's what he was trying to let on to the referee, that he did get hit in the nuts when he didn't. Yeah, he might get hit just below the navel, whatever you want to call it. But that's a whole different type of pain. That's a whole different type of situation that he was letting on to the referee. He didn't tell the referee, like, hey, I got hit a little bit low, hey, tell him to watch it, which does happen in normal fights, right? You've seen that, where a guy goes a little bit low, the guy says, hey, tell this guy to keep him up a little bit. Usyk rolled around the ground like he just got hit in the nuts. Dude, he wasn't even trying to talk to the referee. He was putting on a show for everybody. That's where I'm offended. That's why I'm offended by what happened with that whole thing.
Oscar performance. Drew, the irony is that later in the night, we really did see a disqualification. We really did see egregious use of below the belt punishment.
So, Nando, we had an agreement that without a shadow of doubt, we could not locate where that belly button exactly was, that belt line. When it was
that works both ways, Drew. That works for me and you, though. That works both ways, homie.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing how I look at it. There's technically not enough evidence to say that wasn't a low blow. And that's one of the reasons why, hey, technically it's a low blow. We don't know where the belly button exactly was when it was covered up. We don't exactly know how high the trunks were up above that belly button. And the way that the motion of the punch that he was going, it was going to the motion that it was aiming for below the belt. But I was told any part of that glove, over half that glove was landed on the bottom, underneath that belt line. Lower half of it was.
Hey, Drew, you don't think he was selling it then? You don't think Usyk was selling it though, Drew? Come on. You don't think he was selling it? You don't think he was playing it up a little bit? Like, come on. Really?
Everybody does it.
You really think he hit him in the nuts? You really think he hit him in the nuts, Drew? Really?
Everybody does it.
You think
tactics.
No, everybody, Drew. I've seen that happen before, Drew, in fights. And you know usually happens? The boxer, no, Drew, hold on. I've seen that happen in fights, right, where somebody goes a little bit low, and what happens is every time that boxer look at the referee like, hey, tell this guy to keep him up a little bit. He doesn't roll around on the ground like he just got shot in the nuts. He just looks over at the referee like, hey, man, tell this guy to keep it up. That happened during the fight on ESPN.
I think
the guy, hey, tell.
Yes. What happened later on in the night, ESPN. By the way, Ryan says here on the chat, he says, according to the rules of boxing, anything below the belly button is low. But to Drew's point, it was hard to tell where his navel was. I think what was really concerning to a lot of people watching in real time, if you saw it live, was just how long he took to recover. Because once he took the full allotted 5 minutes, we all realized he was so hurt by that shot that he could have very well have lost his title tonight. Possibly. And then you get the argument for what DUbois is going to present to the commissions now, asking for a no contest, Drew. And what is your take on that, Drew? Do you think he's got a good chance, DUbois?
Hell no, he quit. He got hit with a straight jab, went on his knee and stayed down. He quit. Tell you the truth, that's even worse than when Ryan Garcia quit, because he got hit with a body shot at least. Daniel Dubois got hit with a straight up jab and quit. Now, if it would have went to 12 rounds, a little bit more of a case, he could say and have an argument a little bit. But he flat out quit. And the statement that people say he quit again, no, he did not quit the first time. His team told him to stay down because he had a broken elbow bone. And I think like that's a different excuse right there. But he flat out fucking quit in this fight. And I don't care what anybody says. If the way that he went out, if I was on that commission, you think I'm giving you a fucking no contest and a rematch the way you went out? And tell you the truth, you clearly got knocked down by a jab against a guy that's not really that big of a power puncher and everything. I'm sorry. He mentally checked out. He quit. And I don't care. Like, tell you the truth, he made himself look a lot worse with that, the way he went out. And I don't know how anybody feels. They can say he got robbed and everything, man, but saying robbery is an over-exaggeration. It's funny. People make me laugh when they said robbery when it comes to this fight and everything, because the way he went down, he got up. Anybody else gets up from that. It's a jab. He just looks and shakes his fucking head and says, I don't want to continue. You got hit with a fucking straight jab from a non-power puncher. Yeah, Usyk can knock somebody out, but with combinations, that was one fucking straight jab that put him out. That's the one thing that people need to question too about it, but people are not questioning shit about it.
That's funny. I happen to have that, Drew, the jab. I'm like, what should I just keep playing the same picture, that same video of the jab? Nando, you still with us?
Yeah, hey, I'll say one thing, dude. I know you guys got other phone calls.
Actually, they gave up.
You,
Dave, they gave up, but if they want to call back, please do call back.
All right, dude. I just want to say I agree with you and Drew. I don't want to say a rematch, dude, because I do think Dubois quit. I agree with everything, man. Like, I think Usyk was the better fighter and everything. That one situation is what bothers me. And to be honest, dude, I kind of see like a mentality of Usyk and Loma, always talking to the referees, always asking the referees for a little more help. I don't know why they do that, but every single fight, man, you see them going to the referees, looking to the referees for a little more help when they don't actually even need it. I don't know where they get that from. Maybe from the amateurs, where they have like a sense of entitlement, where the referee's supposed to help them out. But it's kind of troubling a little bit. And I will tell you this, like, even whether you think it was either illegal or not, I know Tyson Fury was watching that fight, and he's going to go to the body when he sees Usyk. When they fight each other, it's going to be to the body all night long.
Well, I hope
it's going to be what it is, man.
I hope the hesitation is over for Tyson Fury. Speaking of Tyson Fury,
exactly.
Have you guys, anyone here, started to watch the Netflix special with the Tyson Fury family, the reality show that he's getting a lot of shit for? Oh, he wants to be a Netflix star. I got it on lock. I'm going to binge watch that this week, this weekend. I'm going to get around to it. Another thing about Netflix, guys, I know we spent a lot of time talking about that Victor Conti special last week, but I want to know if any of you in the chat caught the 3 Knockdown podcast with Mario Lopez and Steve Kim, because I think it was another propaganda piece. They didn't even give the guy enough time to really elaborate. But I want to say this, Mario Lopez, if you watch the shoe shine, give me some credit, bro, because I noticed he had the same talking point about nobody dies in baseball or pro NFL during a game, but in boxing, it's a deadly sport. I'm like, well, shit, that sounds like something I said on the shoe shine.
Come on, Slater. Give us some fucking credit.
Yeah, right. He's not watching this. Mario Lopez is like, who the fuck is this guy? But anyways, yeah, interesting. We share the same point. Nando, you gonna watch that Tyson Fury documentary or whatever reality show? Are you into that? See what he's like behind the scenes?
Dude, I watched like the first 10 minutes and I turned it off, man.
It was that
like,
bad? You know what? I got a feeling it's bad. I got a feeling it's bad.
You just gave me heads up not to watch it.
Oh, man. Oh, by the way, really,
I'm a Tyson Fury fan too, man.
Yeah, here's the thing. I think Fury's going to beat Usyk. It's going to be a good fight, but I think Fury's size and his boxing ability is going to be a little bit too much for Usyk to have to get inside and have a consistent attack on Fury when Fury can have an all-around attack on Usyk. It's going to be a chess match. But I think this goes to decision. I don't think neither guy gets knocked out. Probably Usyk might get hurt, but it's not going to be a knockout. I think it's going to be more like a decision fight. But I think we might not even get that fight next if Eddie Hearn has any say, because he said Hergativ is the mandatory for Usyk next, and they're not stepping aside.
That's some bullshit. Zalil Zhang is better than Hergovic any day. That's a more competitive fight.
Now, Nando, that's a robbery, that the Zalil Zhang and Hergativ fight. He clearly beat fucking Hergativ.
Yeah. And by the way,
it's rematch room, man. It's always a rematch clause. It's always a rematch clause in match room, man. It's a bunch of bullshit, man.
I'm sorry, guys, but I'd like to point out this chat. Ruli Ramundo says too much money on the line for DUbois to win. Absolutely. And now with the talks of that, the Saudis are contemplating bringing back this tournament idea when Fury is done with Ngannou. There's a lot of money on the line, Drew. I think that purse is going to be humongous now.
Did you hear about the other rumor with Lotto and Joshua? They rumored to do a sign-on for a 2-fight deal between them two.
Mm-hmm.
One fight would be in Saudi Arabia, and the other fight would be in Africa.
Interesting. I like that fight, man. I know I heard today Andy Ruiz, we're talking heavyweights. Andy Ruiz had a lot of words to say. He feels that Wilder's not giving him the money that he respectfully should come his way. Nando, what are your thoughts on that, man? On Wilder and possibly Andy Ruiz, but just bickering over money?
It's just, as a fan, it's a disappointment, dude. Andy Ruiz has been I was a fan of his when he knocked out AJ. I was happy, first Mexican heavyweight champ. But ever since then, man, he's been nothing but a disappointment for like the last 2 or 3 years, man. Honestly, Andy Ruiz could just go away, man. He's being greedy, and it is what it is, man. That whole side, man, like the whole heavyweight division, I was so excited about it, but now just this whole year has been a big disappointment. And yeah, I'm more excited for the lower weight class fights than the heavyweights, man. They're all just like chasing that Saudi money that hasn't even appeared yet.
Well, here's a question for both of you. Do you guys think Andy Ruiz is overvaluing himself because he was a former unified heavyweight champion with only one, not even a defense?
No, I don't think so. I think he's capable. I think Andy Ruiz is clearly capable of beating on any given night, putting on a legendary performance. He's just one of these guys that can't do it consistently, Drew. Physically, mentally, everything has to be right for Andy Ruiz to put on the performance he did that night against Anthony Joshua. He cannot do it consistently.
I was talking about the money, the purse split.
The money?
Because the thing is, he said, I deserve a 50-50 split with Deontay Wilder. I deserve between $18 to $20 million to fight Deontay Wilder. Do you guys think he's pricing himself too much because he was a former unified heavyweight champion with 0 title defenses?
Well, now that you bring up the exact amount, fuck, I don't think he deserves more than $10 million. I think he deserves a Caleb Plant type payday, $10 million.
Like, how much did he make for the rematch with Anthony Joshua?
He lost
$10 million.
He lost that. So yeah,
$10 million.
So I don't. He's tripping on that, but I'd like to see them fight one way or another. But if it's going to be Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua, I probably prefer that too. I would really like to see Anthony Joshua get knocked out by Wilder.
Yeah, I'll tell you the truth. I think he does get knocked out by Wilder, and I think it only goes 5 rounds, not even. Like, here's the thing. Now they're making excuses that Helenius failed a drug test. Anything to make Anthony Joshua look non-vulnerable, because when Helenius done to him in 6 rounds, when Deontay was barely touched by him. Yeah. All right, guys.
Let us know what you think, man. Let me know in the chat or in the replay or in the comment section. Did you think Usyk got way too much of the benefit of the doubt in Saturday's win, even though he did finish DUbois by, like what Drew said, just a straight right jab? He won that fight and he pretty much dominated. But did he take advantage of that 5-minute rest break? Was that a legal knockdown? We'll never know. The way it stands, it is what it is. Usyk is still the reigning champion. But let's go on to the top rank card, because something really interesting happened on that undercard, Drew. And it's that basically riding off the coattails of his legendary grandfather's tail, it's his grandfather's coattails, Nico Ali Walsh. And this was really interesting. That day, I made a video that I showed you guys here on the Shoe Shine of us going to the Cosmo. Fonzie, our boy Fonzie, who's in the chat sometimes, was with us. But Nico Ali Walsh was stuck right behind me the entire time trying to pull into the Cosmo. I'm like, son of a bitch, that's Nico Ali Walsh right behind me trying to go to the fight too. It's like 15, 20 minutes that he's right behind me, losing his mind because he's probably late to the fight. But he lost a very close, heated fight, Drew, against a short powerhouse of I believe the guy at Raps in his part-time, a very short little powerhouse, and he comes up on the short end, and I really thought, Drew, that he thought because of his name that he was going to get another nod, that he was going to get the nod. And it was a close fight, Drew. But, I mean, wasn't this inevitable, essentially, for a guy who had almost zero amateur career, very little amateur career, someone who's learning on the job, basically mirroring the professional career almost of, like, say, someone like Jake Paul, like learning on the job, but against professional boxers, no MMA fighters or anything like that. Wasn't it just a matter of time before the guy got exposed?
Wasn't his last fight a draw?
People thought in his last fight that he got a gift decision as well. And I thought, I've seen him fight. I actually saw him fight at, Oscar Valdez versus Shakur Stevenson. And I thought, okay, he's developing. If they just keep matching him with the right opposition, they could get him to 10, 15 wins without any incident. But
I look at it like this. I did not think he was that good of a fighter to begin with. It was easy shit that you could find wrong with him. He did easy shit wrong. He's not disciplined enough. Like to tell you the truth, to me, he fights like a borderline club fighter. If you ask me, like I thought it was inevitable he was eventually going to lose because there's no way he could keep this up. Well, and they slow developing him. And this was one of the times that Top Rank made the incorrect matchup for him. The guy beat him. I thought the guy clearly beat him. I thought I had it. I had it clearly. The other guy beating Nico Ali Walsh. I don't think he's. I think they overvalue him because here's the thing. When they build you up as Muhammad Ali's grandson, and they're hyping you up and they're building you up because of your grandfather and everything, you are expected. There is a lot of expectations in you
most definitely
produce.
Yeah. Shout out to Ryan. He says the last fight was a draw, Drew, but his opponent popped dirty and it was overturned. I'm surprised that at such a lower level, an undercard type fighter, that they were testing the guy that Nico Ali Walsh fought. But you know what? They should be testing everybody. They should be testing everybody on a fight card, not just the main event. So I like that they did that. For Nico Ali Walsh, I'm just curious. The guy's finally developing. You threw a real freaking test at him this time. One that was probably too harsh a test. And now you've got him with some stock. His stock is dropped. So what do? Do you continue to give him 1-2 more chances? This happened to Gabe Flores. Nando, you still with us? Do you, as Top Rank Bruce Champion, you give him a couple more chances?
Honestly, dude, I'm not as offended as other people are about Nico Ali Walsh. He's fine, dude. For me, it's kind of like a little bit like a butterbean type thing. He's bringing eyes to boxing. He's kind of doing it legitimately. Mm-hmm. He hasn't fought a YouTuber. He hasn't gotten the easy bag by beating up a YouTuber or anything like that. Yeah. He's giving an honest effort. And in that fight, I thought it was 50-50. Could have gone either way. He did wobble that guy. We had that guy out on his feet like in the fourth round, I think it was, where he wobbled that guy pretty good. So, I mean, I'm not offended by Nico Ali Walsh. He's fine. And to me, it's kind of cool that somebody related to Muhammad Ali genuinely is still in the sport of boxing and he's taking it serious. So I'm not offended. He was like third on the undercard or something like that. It's not that big of a deal to me, man. Like, it's fine. He's not unfun to watch. I like watching him fight. He's fine. It's like you said, Dave. He's a club fighter. He's entertaining, so it's fine. Even if he loses again, I don't care. It doesn't bother me.
Like, I look at it like this. Now you got to build him back up. He got his first loss. You got to build him back up now, and you got to figure out a way how to build him back up now, because now it's back to the drawing board. In fact, what did I do wrong in this fight that made them give him this fight and everything? And then get back to it, work on it, get better at what you did wrong, and move forward. Now, the only thing is, he needs to not worry about how everybody sees him now. He's got to worry about improving, coming back from it, and let people know, hey, that was a backtrack. That was a step backwards, and I'm paying and everything. Can he do it? Yeah, he can do it. There's always a chance for him to bounce back from it. Now, it's only up to him if he's willing to put the effort in to bounce back from that loss. Like, it's not the first time that someone was expected to beat someone easily and get upset. It won't be the last time either. So, end of the day, he's got to work on what he did wrong in that fight, improve it. Hopefully, he can get a rematch with the dude down the line, because I think it might be the right thing to do for them is that get him to rematch that guy and let him beat him.
Yeah, I like that, Drew. And by the way, someone that I could think about that is going to be in a very huge fight, Drew, who had this type, he was a club fighter, got a loss as a club fighter, got his second last loss handed to him by Jesus Ramos Jr., and is now going to be fighting for a world championship, is Brian Mendoza. Brian Mendoza out of Arizona, who fights here in Las Vegas now. Guy has 2 losses on his record at 154 pounds and is getting that title opportunity, rightfully earned, by the way, by knocking out the Towering Inferno and retiring Jason Rosario, a former world champion. Nico Ali Walsh could absolutely still do something brilliant in the sport of boxing. How he takes this as a learning opportunity, how his team rebuilds him, Drew. One of them things I've seen in this fight that was very strange to me, I think he has enough ring IQ to control the distance, to control the tempo of the fight. And I saw this dude taking time off and trying to counter fight off the ropes. Why? Why was he doing shit like that? You ain't Canelo Alvarez. You know what I mean? Like, he used to do that. Like, he's just doing some strange things that I think, like, because he didn't box so much as a kid, as an amateur, some of these outstanding fighters that have long amateur backgrounds, he don't have that to rely on. So he falls back on instinct, whatever instinct he has. And it's wrong. It don't work for the guy. He's got to listen to his trainers. Yeah.
But you know what? I really give Brian Mendoza a real shot of being Tim Tszyu. I really give him a good shot. I think he has the tools to beat him. The only thing is, it's a good fight, but I really do give Brian Mendoza a shot to win this fight, though.
Yeah, but we'll get to that when that fight comes close, man. I'm very excited for that fight. Nando, you still with us?
Yeah, I got a question for you, Dave, you and Drew. You guys made me think. Should Top Rank cash him out with the fight against Jake Paul? That'd be big money.
Wow, but they're so far apart right now in weight.
Yeah, they're so, like, the weight, it's very complicated because of the weight. Now.
Okay.
I think Nico went down from 168 to 160 to try to find his, like, right body recently. Like, he's kind of, like, still playing around with what weight class he should be at. So he's way too small for Jake Paul right now.
But no, here's a good fight for Jake Paul. And I think a lot of people will be interested in it. Have a fight Julio Cesar Chavez.
Oh, bro, I knew you were going to say that. He's coming out. Chavez Jr. says he's out of rehab.
Intrigued by the match.
You know he wants that fight, man. You know he already fought the MMA guy. Chavez Jr. recently had that fight.
He got his ass kicked. He got schooled by Anderson.
So you know he'll take that fight in a heartbeat.
That's what. Here's the thing, man.
Chavez gonna pop dirty a month before the fight, dude. Chavez gonna pop dirty a month before the fight. He ain't even gonna make it to the scales.
Why
dude.
they gotta even test? I mean, shit. Why they gotta test that fight?
Here's the thing. When has he fucked his dad's legacy up? When has he fucked his
dad won't show up to this one.
Seriously.
His dad wouldn't show up to that Jake Paul fight.
His dad wouldn't show up. His dad would be all the way in Mexico, and the fight takes place in Canada. And his dad would have still watched the fight if he even didn't have to pay him to watch the fight.
Yeah. All right. Let's go back to this Top Rank card. Okay, the co-main event. Actually, you know what? Before I put the graphic up of Efe Agagba, who used to fight at PBC, who I thought was developing into a top 10 contender in the heavyweight division. This fight ended because of disqualification. These guys really took shots at each other's below the belt. For real. I know Drew and I were joking about taking shots, but this one ended because of that disqualification. But flying under the radar at the beginning of the night of this fight, guys, was the gold medalist, okay, that beat Richard Torres Jr., that's knocked out Richard Torres Jr., now fighting on Top Rank, 13-0, guys, with a first-round stoppage. I know nobody wants to see it or say it, man, but Jalalov is coming. And he's going to be a force to be reckoned with, in my opinion. He's coming for the top 10, and he's going to move up very quickly. We're talking about Usyk, a gold medalist as a cruiserweight. We're talking about Jalalov being the gold medalist at heavyweight. And and he's going to be in the conversation. And yet he debuted on Top Rank at the very, who knows what time. Did anybody even catch his fight? Did you see him?
No, to tell you the truth, when I started watching the Top Rank card, it was this fight right here I was watching.
Right, exactly.
And I was like, what the fuck?
Exactly. Well, anyways, guys, I believe he's a sparring partner. Who's telling me? Who does he spar with? Efe Agagba. Do you guys think he's got a chance at cracking the top 5? He didn't get a chance to show off his skills this Saturday night.
I really, it's a little too soon to say whether he not. he can do it or not. I got us like maybe when like we see more see him more fight more and everything, and maybe we see him when he moves up in competition and everything, then we can make an assessment on it. But other than that, he has potential to do it. Like, but there's a lot of matchups that he can have on top rank, including Richard Torres.
Right.
Didn't he knock him out in the Olympics?
Oh no, Jalalov definitely knocked out Richard Torres.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Not in the Olympics. Not in the Olympics. The year before.
The year before.
Olympics.
In the
amateur
world tournament.
Like a world championship.
Yeah. And then he beat him in the gold medal round. Then he did beat him in the gold medal round by decision.
Right.
Yeah. So
I saw that fight.
I really look at it and there's a lot of good matchups in the heavyweight division when it comes to top rank, and so it's really going to be a fun maybe 5 years for the heavyweight
I'll take
division.
it. That's an opportunity to get new fans in the sport of boxing. The heavyweight division always leads. So I was saying, who's the sparring partner? Efe Agagbe is a sparring partner of Baby Anderson, who was the main event. So let's get on to Big Baby real quick, because that's the other news. Demolishes a 6 foot. They had him listed at 6'3". Other people online said he was 6 feet tall. Obviously, not a very tall heavyweight at all. Cruiserweight, but he's been in there with serious heavyweights. His losses have come into some serious heavyweights, Drew. Were you impressed by Big Baby's performance in this, 5th round stoppage, man? I mean, this was easy work. Unlike what he did against Charles Martin, he had a rough time against Charles Martin.
But this guy, Joyce couldn't stop this guy. And Big Baby Anderson did. Like, this was a guy that was never stopped. And this was guys like Zhang, Joyce, they couldn't stop him. Jared Anderson did. And Jared Anderson displayed a great body attack. He nailed 72 body punches before the stoppage.
I did enjoy that.
Proof, it's over 50% of his punches he landed in that fight. So, it was a great showing. It showed that he did that. He showed what he was working on after that Charles Martin fight, and it actually was a really good showing for him.
Yeah, I think it was much better than Charles Martin. But I liked what I saw in that Charles Martin, because I thought he was going to learn and take a lot from that lesson, going the distance against somebody who has the pedigree, former world champion, even though it was kind of an odd win for him, Charles Martin, to get that world championship. I think he needed that. And the fact that he took this fight with such short notice, and that was a long fight, Drew. That fight with Martin went the distance. So it was actually kind of a big deal that this is the right direction I want to see fighters going, that they don't take 3 to 6 months off in between fights. This is why Baby Anderson is on a fast track to potentially be in the conversation next year to get a title shot.
A throwback fighter. Guys that take a lot of fights in a year. In 3.5 years, he's fought 16 professional fights and everything. So that's a really good number for him. To fight that many professional fights in 3.5 years in a career that long. So, tell you the truth, the Charles Martin fight was an experience because he fought a former IBF heavyweight champion of the world. He fought a guy that gave him rounds, gave him how a top heavyweight it is a gatekeeper, you can call Charles Martin now, can give him. So far, he's learning from it. He learned from that fight, and he's becoming a way better body puncher to add that to his arsenal and everything. And that's why I tell people, if Jared Anderson improved the little things, he will be virtually unbeatable in the heavyweight division. And I'm sticking by it. I think Jared Anderson is going to be the future heavyweight champion of the world. Undisputed. We can only see, but I do see him as a future world heavyweight champion.
That's interesting because DUbois fought. Yeah, go ahead, Nando.
I'm sorry, dude. I'll say 2 things just to kind of give like the counterpoint to Drew. Jared Anderson, man, he keeps on talking about retirement, and it kind of sounds like his heart's not in it, man. Like sometimes I just wonder about that guy. Like He seems like he's always just talking about he's only going to be in it for another couple more years, blah blah blah. He's always talking about retirement, which is not a good sign for any boxer. And another thing too, dude, I would like to see him in against, like, 'cause I know he had a hard time with Charles Martin. Charles Martin is like 6'5", has long reach. Everybody else that Jared Anderson has dominated, including the guy over the weekend, Rudenko, they're all like 6 foot tall. You know, they're not big heavyweights, they're not big tall heavyweights. And the first time he finally fought somebody that was big and tall, kind of gave him a hard time with that long reach. So I still kind of want to see Jared Anderson against more tall, big guys. See how he does with those kind of guys. You know.
I agree with
you.
you.
I just
Yeah, but that's why I think he thought he had to become a better body puncher to add that to his game, to when he fights the taller guys and everything, so he can go hit them to the body, make them try to bring their guard down, so he can go to the up, so he can punch up and everything. This guy was naturally a head puncher, and he evolved into a body puncher with one fight. This is what you like seeing, a guy that's learning from his past fights and becoming a better fighter and everything. He's doing everything right. Yeah, the one fight with Charles Martin was kind of a step back because he should have stopped him and everything. But he learned. He's learned from that fight. He showed he learned from that fight, and he added another arsenal, a weapon to his arsenal, a body shot. He's going to be better against these bigger guys when he fights them, in my opinion, because of that body attack.
Drew, up until 2 years ago when Daniel Dubois was fighting on, and by the way, shout out to Hamed, who's joining us from the UK. I appreciate you being in here. You haven't been here in a while. I know it's the time zone. I definitely appreciate you coming up in the shoe shine. Dubois, I thought, was being fast tracked as the next big UK's potential star, Drew. And he was doing impressively well, just like Baby Anderson, until they matched him up against Joe Joyce. And I think that was a freaking big mistake, because he was not ready for someone on the level of Joe Joyce. They underestimated Joe Joyce, and it cost them dearly. It cost him a very serious eye injury that took him out for a while to recover the orbital break. But here we are 2 years later, and we get Daniel Dubois in a championship opportunity. This is what I want to see out of Baby Anderson. I want to see how well he can do against somebody like Daniel Dubois. And I think Daniel Dubois, even with this loss, showed us enough to say, you know what? I'm not a gatekeeper. I'll show you guys I'm not a gatekeeper. Bring on somebody from the U.S. Bring on this kid you call Baby Anderson. That is a good fight, because I need to see how Baby Anderson does again, like you guys pointed out, against somebody taller than him, potentially a little bit taller than him, somebody who could crack to the body. We saw that this Saturday. We saw Dubois can crack to the body. We saw it more than once.
I'll be honest with you, Dave. I don't think Daniel Dubois lasts 5 rounds with Jared Anderson.
But that says a lot, though. But that says a lot, and that's what I want to find out. That says a lot about where Baby Anderson is. Does he take him out faster than Usyk?
I think he does. Because I really think he's much younger, he's much faster, and he will move around when he's attacking. And I don't think Daniel Dubois is going to be able to handle that arsenal.
Damn, bro. If he takes out Dubois in less than the amount of rounds it took Usyk this weekend, then everyone is going to be calling for him to have a title opportunity against the very top, the cream of the crop.
Look at it like this. That fight where Dubois beat Trevor Bryan for that Reggie belt, that could have easily beat Jared Anderson right there, getting that Reggie belt. Easily could have been Jared Anderson, because Trevor Bryan's a hype job. Trevor Bryan was shown to be a bum. His best win was against an Asian voice, Devon, and everything. Maybe that's another fight for Jared Anderson to put him gut. Maybe Savon and everything. Maybe Top Rank should offer him Trevor Bryan and everything. But I'm looking at it like this. I think he knocks Daniel Dubois out inside 5 rounds. He's not going to be able to defend that arsenal all this time, Dubois, because Jared Anderson is a guy that's going to constantly go after him. Usyk is going to box his way. see an opening and explore that opening with a combination. Jay's just going to keep going in front of you, railing on you, and then moving around, railing on you again until you open up, and then he's just going to nail you hard.
Well, I'm no matchmaker, man, but I would like to see that fight. That's a good fight, potentially. DUbois versus Baby Anderson. I know it'd be difficult to make. It's not like they fight on the same promotion.
I got a question.
Company. Yeah.
Would you like to see Jared Anderson start moving up, like find name fighters? You know, like maybe not the top tier, but like French contenders from here on out, like like a Luis Ortiz, an F.A. Jogba,
Frank Sanchez,
Frank Martin, people like that. Yeah, well, Frank Sanchez. There you go. I'm sorry. Yeah,
well,
people like that.
Savon's a former world champion, so that would count.
You want to roll him out? You want to roll out Stavern?
Luis Ortiz will be someone I would like to match him up with. I think that would be a huge win, especially if he knocks him out in under 8 rounds or in 5 rounds. It's a huge win because Deontay Wilder couldn't knock him out until like the later rounds and everything. Now, Java, whatever his name is, it's a good fight. It could be a little bit of a chess match because Java's been working on has been getting better with his jab and everything. And I think that Frank Sanchez fight really really made him a lot better and everything. And to tell you the truth, it's a good fight. And I don't think you can deny that's a good fight on paper. And it's an entertaining fight. But if we're going to talk about French contenders, I think the first one you want to think of is Luis Ortiz, like you said, Nando.
Really, Ramundo says Ortiz is 72 years old this year and still going. He's 72. I don't know how old he is, but I'd be worried about him not getting the proper credit if he did beat up Ortiz. And then we find out later that Ortiz is pushing 50 and his documents have been falsified. I mean, I don't know. It is a very good fight. It's a very good test. I agree with you guys on that. And obviously we mentioned people like Ruiz Jr., who's going to price himself above 10 million. He's not fighting Baby Anderson for nothing. It ain't going to happen. You got to find somebody with a big name from PBC stable that's on the fringes now at the tail end of their career, who's willing to take the fight for like $1 million or 500,000, like Charles Martin, who had a title at one point and was willing to do it for about that price range.
I look at it like this.
Exactly.
How they were like, if you look at the difference of how the UK fighters are built up to get where they're at and the American fighters, I think the American fighters, heavyweights, are being more tested in competition to where it comes to the UK. Because to tell you the truth, a lot of those guys that these UK heavyweights coming up are really bad.
You know who's testing you is Chicano Prophet. He says, Drew, I'll show you exactly where the Usyk's belly button is when you show me where. Everyone acts like that when getting hit on the belt line.
Yo, I don't want to see your belly button, Chicano. Please, I don't want to see it, man.
I debated starting Usyk has an affinity for dance music, and I debated starting the show by doing the Usyk dance, like he does that to our intro song.
It's not a good time. It's not a good time.
No belly buttons and no dancing on the shoe shine.
Like if you had a female that we could talk about and everything, maybe we can talk about that. But I don't want to see no guy's belly button. That's for sure. So please don't ever ask me that again, Chicano. Thank you. I appreciate it.
This weekend, guys, we saw our boy Hamed who was asking about the phone line. Yeah, it's open. There is not much domestically happening here, but there is something internationally, something across the pond, and that's this rematch between Liam Beefy Smith, who shocked it. I think he shocked it. I was so surprised when he knocked the lights out of, what's his name again, Drew? Because he was supposed to fight Conor Benn.
Chris Eubanks.
Chris Eubanks Jr., the guy who started at super middleweight, and eventually middleweight, and was willing to melt all the way down to Lord knows what weight class to fight Conor Benn. Nando, you still with us? Okay, Nando left. I'm gonna take the 925 real quick, and then oh my God, you've been waiting that long. Let's see. Are you still here with us, 925? And then I'll take, I believe, the Hamed Kabul. You guys still here with us? Is this Lukey?
Yeah, you already know.
Oh, Lukey, I'm so sorry. I was not watching the phone line. My bad.
I'm enjoying the show. I'm a fan, so I'm just
I
resting.
appreciate
I'm going on vacation for 2 weeks.
Damn, you enjoy those 2 weeks,
Bay.
man. But what did you think about all this weekend, man? What's your hot take in 2 minutes?
I mean, Drew does a great job on this show, and he says things very much how I feel a lot. With Usyk, I think people just are more so complaining on the way he behaved with body shots
Mm-hmm.
than the low blow, because I think the low blow is like a boom boom thing. People are acting like there's a malcontent and mischievous thoughts. Literally, guy gets hit in the belly and the referee has to make the decision. Do I start counting or is it low? It's a boom boom thing. We've seen instances where it's been called 2 different ways on 2 different occasions. It doesn't hurt that the fight's in the Ukraine, right? Because if you do start counting and the guy doesn't get up, it gets harder to go to your car. That being said, I don't think it messed up any of the outcome. And as I said before, DUbois, to me, I wouldn't say he's a quitter. Drew, and you guys, I think you said quitter. I think he's a bully. So I don't think he quits, but I think he gets discouraged when he can't impose himself on the and maybe that's the same thing. Maybe being a bully is a quitter, but I break it down more nuanced, and shout out to this person going through my ranch on a motorbike. I think he's more of a bully, and what I mean by that is once the guy takes his biggest shot, we always see him go downhill. Boxing's real fun when he's beating you up, but when he's not beating you up, it's like he's like, oh man, I don't like it when I have to face adversity. And maybe that is a quitter, but to me, he's a bully, and punching a guy below the belt is a thing a bully would do. And then when a guy gets up and seems pissed off and socks you in the face, then that's kind of the kryptonite to bullies. That's my thought on that. I wanted to give you one quick thought, right? Because I know you guys had a full show, probably tired, and you probably want to eat some food and stuff. My quick take for you guys is I'm as high as anyone on Jared Anderson, but someone called me today and said, we got to start listening to these fighters. When they tell us who they are, we need to start believing them. Everyone's saying he's the next great American heavyweight, but Jared Anderson. Are you guys a little concerned that maybe he doesn't fully believe he's the next great American heavyweight?
I am. I do find. I think a fighter's ego is very important in their development. I think they have to believe that they're the best all the way up until they win the world championship. True?
I think that he doesn't care to be called the next American great heavyweight because all he cares about is providing a living for himself, to change his life and everything. And if he becomes a world champion because of it, it's a bonus. Like, it's to have somebody put that pressure on you that you're the next great American heavyweight. I don't think he welcomes that pressure. I think he wants to do things his way, and he doesn't care to be called the next American great heavyweight because he hasn't earned nothing yet. When he's close to that level, when he's close to be fighting for a world championship, maybe he'll come out that shell more and say, hey, it's my time and everything. But no, right now, he's building up wins, getting the more experience, and getting ready to put himself at that next level. And he's making a hell of a lot of fucking money in the process, which is a fucking bonus.
Doesn't hurt one
I guess
bit.
my concern is this is my concern is heavyweight, all boxing, like this is the era of the premature guy, right? So it's like you jump on Shoe Shine, you jump on Lucy's thing, you jump on wherever boxing scene. There's going to be 5 jerk-off writers who, when a kid fights in the third fight of the night, we're going to prematurely say this guy's the future. And then when they have one hard fight, we're going to prematurely say, is it the end? My only concern with Jared is I get what he's doing. He's basically saying I'm poor. I want to build a financial future for my family. I want to give them a head start so they don't have to be poor. I respect it. I understand it. My issue is there is a legacy component to the heavyweight division, and I'm not saying it like winning titles. Nando's right. The guy hasn't fought a lot of tall heavyweights. When he fought Charles Martin, the issue to me wasn't the power so much as he couldn't throw combination punches with Charles Martin based on the height. Jared likes to punch in combination with his opponents. The height creates an X factor. I think Jared, leading into the Charles Martin fight, is starting to question his purpose in life like a lot of young people do. And I think this is a very interesting spot because he's going through a thing to me that's similar to Berlanga, but Berlanga stayed inward. We never heard Berlanga verbalize what he went through, and now we kind of look at him as a prospect, but a very damaged prospect, a prospect that we expect someone. He's kind of like Chavez Jr. when Jr. lost to Fonfara. We're expecting that type of performance to happen one of these nights. Berlanga lose to a random person. I think it's interesting when someone's at a crossroads where we don't know if they're going up or down, but they're verbalizing, and it's almost like we're ignoring the verbal. Man, I'm talking so much. We're ignoring some of the verbal cues that they're saying because it could be really fascinating, and he could be like the next modern American heavyweight, or he could be saying, bro, I'm stressed out. I feel like I have the weight of my family on me. I don't know. I just think because the fight's terrible. He fought a 40-year-old man who was 6 feet tall, beat him. I mean, I went to a movie. I didn't have to watch this fight. But I watched the highlights on YouTube. Like, if you guys watched it, more power to you. I've watched boxing for a long time. I don't have to watch these type of fights, right? When I see the fight, 40-year-old man fighting Jared Anderson, 6 feet tall, I know what's going to happen, right? But what's interesting is how is Jared developing? He's second main event fighter. He's probably coming back in December. Does he fight his sparring partner, F.A. Ajagba? Does a guy like Jeremiah Milton get an opportunity to face him? Do you, like Nando said, do you bring Luis Ortiz out of retirement? Now he doesn't have enough to go all the rounds, but now he has to figure something out. He passed the test in development so well, he's skipped being a contender. Like, he beat the guys that were supposed to test him, Jerry Forrest, George Arias. So, like, now it's a perplexing equation of, okay, you beat the guys that we expected you to maybe struggle with or, and that. But then Charles Martin caught you 3 times. Keep in mind, Jared wins every round of the fight pretty much. But he has the great misfortune of the most memorable punches in that fight being the punches that Charles Martin landed. Right? So now we have this weird equation. And here's the thing I don't like about Jared right now. And I like Jared. I'm a Jared Anderson fan. I don't like when young people start talking about haters. Because when I hear young people talking about haters, that tells me they're listening to what people are saying on Boxing Scene. They're listening to what people are saying on the Shoe Shine Boxing podcast. They're listening to things on Twitter. There's nothing you need to listen to other than a little bit of feedback that your coach dissects and that you go at. You just need to go on Instagram, look at attractive women, and make money. That's all you got to do when you're in the fighter mindset. And to me, it seems like that last performance kind of weighed on him, that people doubt him. So I went on a lengthy rant there. But I think that Jared's really interesting because he's got this charisma. He dresses up as Batman. He dresses up as a school mascot. He did a segment about police incarceration for his brother. He's tapping into people from rappers to nerds that can see his viral clips of his walkout that make him one of the most interesting and accessible heavyweights. Oh, and by the way, he knocks people out. But he's also an interesting person. Like, Jared's someone I'd like to sit down with because it seems like he has a lot of depth. That being said, does that make a great fighter? I don't know the answer.
That's a great question. And I'll have to I'm going to keep my eyes on him and how his story develops. You brought up something really, really good tonight. You know, Lucas, I watched the Joe Rogan podcast, the clips sometimes. I don't subscribe to Spotify, but I did see this singer and Post Malone. Everybody knows who he is. And he said the best thing he did this year was get off social media. His happiness is through the roof now. Once he just disassociated with all social media, it's been liberating. So to a young fighter like these guys that are either they're so good at social media or maybe it's bad for them. If it's bad for Baby Anderson, he should get off of it. If he's talking about haters, like you said, get off of it.
Not to step on you and Drew, because I feel like I come on here and I heat check and I just talk to myself, and that's terrible. But we saw this story today. Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson had a boring teen drama that played out in front of millions of social media. I had to write a story on it. I'm bored, right? It's a he said, she said, oh, here's a video, here's some insults. Why do these guys need to be on social media posting their life? Like, anyone that follows me, do you ever see me being like, hey, guys, I'm at this supermarket, come rob me? Like, why give... I guess I'm a little old and I'm a little old school. I always think that people are manipulative. They're going to try to prey on me because I look weak or maybe I'm successful. I don't want to ever give anyone leverage on who I am or what I am on social media. If anything, I want to be information, make money, and look weak. When these kids try to not look weak on social media, I just always think there's predators out there looking like, ooh, we can play with their emotions. Because I grew up somewhere where people love to see people get emotional because that means they could be manipulated.
Right.
So I think this social media dynamic with young fighters, it allows irrelevant people to be relevant, and it allows irrelevant people to actually impact fighters who have nothing better to do than go on their phones and look at inconsequential stuff. Like, these guys need to start learning about nature documentaries or something. Life's real fun outside of the internet. You know, I call into Shoe Shine folks because I like Drew. I like you. I care about you guys. I genuinely, you know, as a man, I love you guys. You know, not in that weird way, like, you know, but like, I love calling into the show. I love being on this show. I love talking to you. But I don't really follow you guys on social media. I just know when the show is. I check it. I see you every now and then. Why can't these fight? Is it just an old thing? When you're a certain age, you just don't care?
It might be. It really might be. Like you said, the fighters that are really into it are all under 25. And the ones that are really good at social media, like Ryan Garcia, are like, what, 23, 24. It's a generational thing. Hey, everybody, make sure you follow Lucas Cattell. Inside the Ropes of Boxing is available on Amazon. I'm always going to push it. I need my autographed copy. I need my autographed copy, though. You know, I'm working on this man cave here. I'm about to put some real man stuff up on that wall.
It's not a closet.
And also Pro Box TV.
It's not a closet.
Pro Box TV every Wednesday night.
When I pull up.
When you
I'll
pull
get
up.
You, I'm going to be out there for my girlfriend's birthday in November. Hopefully I'm doing nothing boxing. We're going to go to the YouTube show, Golden Steer, and maybe Bizarre Meats.
I like it. Golden Steer?
Yeah, when I'm out.
Say where the Rat Pack's at. And get that salad made at the... yeah, you get to... And then he's going to the Sphere. Drew, he's going to the Sphere. You're going to see you too? Jealous.
Yeah, like, what's the point of making money if you don't actually spend it?
There you go, man. You got to live life. I heard that, Lukey. Yeah. If you got time for me, man, we'll definitely see.
On me.
I'll pull up on you. All right, guys. Thanks a lot, Lukey. Make sure you catch on and subscribe to his YouTube channel because it's awesome content, guys. Thank you so much, Lukey. All right. Before we end the shoe shine, if you're still here, Hamed, for all the way, I believe, from the UK, wanted to... You still with us, homie? Hamed?
I'm not in him.
Hamed,
yeah, how's it good, guys?
Hey, what's your takeaway from this big weekend? I appreciate you calling the shoe shine.
All right. I didn't catch what you guys were saying because I didn't manage to catch the beginning of the show because I had a problem with my laptop and my phone. I was trying to sort that out. I did listen to a bit of what Drew was saying. I think he was talking to Nando, but I thought I rewatched the highlights. I thought that was a legal shot, but I can understand the argument on the other side because Drew does have a good point and a good point. Some of the glove, or in some angles, it looks like a lot of the glove is landing below the belt, and a lot of it is also on the belt line. So that's where it's a bit of a grey area. But I was talking to Maestro, and we had a discussion about this. In the rules, it says anything below the belt is a low blow. Now, I don't know if that means the whole glove has to be below the belt or if it's partially, because if you read the rules, it's not really specific. But on top of that, Luis Pabon was not really transparent. And this is why I said to a couple of people, including I think it's Beeb as well, that before the fight, normally the referee says where the shots are legal and illegal. And he didn't do that. And then the video I uploaded, which I think was posted by Boxing King Media on Twitter, also in the dressing room, the referee was also not transparent. He wasn't Pacific. So I don't know if that was as a cop-out, because Luis Pabon has got a track record where he's heavily favored the house fighter and he's being lenient in terms of letting the quote-unquote A-side or house fighter getting away with tactics one way or the other. Like in terms of Klitschko, I thought, I know that was in Russia, but Klitschko is clearly being favored by Pabon. He was allowed to hold not low blow, I think it's hold, grab, and put Povetkin in the headlock several times. And Pabon, I think, didn't take a point off until the 9th round. And in this fight, every time I saw DUbois went to the body, Usyk was complaining. And just going by what I watched live and when I rewatched the highlights, there were several shots that landed which were clean and to the body, and it looked like Usyk kept kneeling down and he was trying to complain. So I don't know if this guy is really competent. To me, it seems like he's a referee that is maybe either corrupt or he's biased, because he's also done this in the past. I think it was with Usyk and AJ. AJ landed, I think, a borderline body shot, and he called a break and he warned AJ, and he was threatening to disqualify DUbois. So I don't know what would have happened if he counted, because Usyk did get up as an amateur when he got dropped by a similar shot on the belt line. So it's hard to say, but I personally think Usyk was saved in a way, because I thought that was a heavy shot that landed, whether it was on the belt line or if you think it was low. I do think it was arguably a shot that could have been counted, and we'll never know. What do you guys think? Do you think Usyk would have got back up? Because I think that is speculation, but I'm not sure.
Well, I mentioned earlier in the show that I believe he would have got up and fought through those 2.5 minutes. I think he would have got up. But knowing what you said about Pabon, that Pabon was not transparent in the dressing room, and from what I remember too, he did not clearly give the instructions there about any specific, hey, your belt's too high, this is where the belt line is, which is traditional. It left that wiggle room there, and as soon as Usyk realized that he got that low blow called as opposed to a legal shot, he chose to take advantage of the full 5 minutes. But I think if he had known he was knocked down and they were counting 1 to 10, he would have absolutely have got up no matter what condition he was in. But who knows? Maybe DUbois would have attacked on him and pressed the issue and got him out of there. Who knows? Now it's a mystery, right? And now it's up to the commissions to see if they'll take any credence to his argument, which I think they won't. I just think they won't. It never happens. They're not going to take the championship away from Usyk.
I look at it like this. I look at the video you were showing, Ahmed, on the thing and everything.
Yeah.
And tell you the truth, he wasn't hit on the belt line in that clip. He was hit a little bit above the belt line. The way that punch landed.
Which one's that? The one in the amateurs. All right.
Yeah, it was the older video. That was above the belt line. Actually on the side, I think it was the right hand side of his stomach. That's where that punch landed. Now two punches, including the one that people are having a controversy about, were low blows. The other ones weren't low blows. So I understand the one argument Usyk said, "Hey, he hit me and everything," but complaining constantly about it, no, dude, just go back and fight. If you're gonna complain constantly, dude, it's not getting you anywhere. But here's my thing, and I asked multiple people that's on Twitter when they're showing Usyk's trunks and belly button. When it comes to this, could you tell me 100% without a shadow of a doubt, you know where his belly button is in those trunks where his belly button was covered up at? Nobody wanted to answer my question.
I could answer that. I could answer that. You can't. So wait, you can't.
Thank you.
You can, but in the amateurs, when he got dropped, his trunks were below his navel, his belly button, and the shot landed below the belly button, and the referee counted, and Usyk didn't complain. As a professional against Dubois, his belly button was hidden, the navel was hidden, the trunks were a bit higher. I don't think they were that high because I think Dubois' trunks were higher, but against Dubois in that fight, you can't tell, but Pabon also can't tell, and he didn't make the call. Like Robert Byrd and Tony Weeks and some of these other referees in the Ward Kovalev fights, they instructed before the opening bell, we're going to let the shots go on the belt line, and anything below that is illegal. In this fight, Pabon didn't do that, and I'm not sure if Pabon could tell where his belly button is because his trunks were above it. After the fight, he obviously lowered his.
Nobody could tell where his belly button was. But the thing about it is, the way that his trunks were placed, the belly button could have been, if you look at the circle on his butt line, the circle, that logo on it, that circle logo, nobody could tell if that belly button was on top of that circle, in the middle of that circle, or the bottom of that circle. But the way that it looked like, that belly button could have been on the top of the circle. And when you got hit, over half of that fist landed on below the belt line, which is considered a low blow because, to tell you the truth, I saw fights that punches like that landed like that, and they were called low blows. They were called low blows because some of that fist landed below the belt buckle. Tell you the truth, they look at it and say anything below the belt buckle, even if part of that fist lands below it, it counts as a low blow. And then after that, I was looking at a tweet from Ring IQ. He said the way that punch was looked like it was coming. It was coming that it was going towards a low blow. That's why there's one reason why.
It was an uppercut. It was an uppercut. It was an uppercut, but I'll challenge anyone. There's a very good video by Proper Boxing, a British guy, and he breaks a lot of his videos down, like I think in 6 or 8 minutes, and he tries looking at it from both ways. He does it with a sense of humor, like it's quite comedic, like the way he does it, so it is quite funny. But he shows 3 instances where he goes through the video, and then he shows the images when it's about to land, when it lands, and when it's actually landed. So he breaks it down. When the punch is landed, the trunks obviously, I think, go a bit high. But before they're landing, it shows the majority of the glove is on the belt line. And to my knowledge, in most fights, the referee says if the punch is on the belt line, that's a legal shot. That's not illegal. In this fight, the bad thing is the referee didn't specify that whether or not he was going to allow shots on the belt line. Because in some cases, the referee will say anything on the belt line and below is illegal. I think it was in the Jared Anderson fight, and I think there may have been other fights. But
and the Coleman.
I think a lot of people do a lot of people do obviously have their opinions one way or the other. I think if the referee counted, I don't think too many people would have complained because that was very hard. That was very hard to see in real time, in live play. A lot of people have been using slow motion replays, and I'm just talking about the actual punch, where he landed. Not people talking about slow motion replays or the impact or how Usyk reacted. I'm not sure. If Usyk doesn't go down and Usyk doesn't complain, I'm not sure if Luis Pabon does call that low, or if the roles are reversed and Usyk lands that on Dubois. Like, I just think Usyk got a bit of I don't know if preferential treatment is the right word, because what Dubois got against Kelvin Lerena was much more, I think, corrupt and obviously controversial, because I think per the WBA rules, Dubois really should have been stopped. I think the 3 knockdown rule was in effect, and then the stoppage, I think, in round 3 arguably was premature slightly as well. But I do think it is a bit of a grey area. I'm not sure what would have happened if he got dropped, because that's something nobody could really answer definitively, but that could have been scored a knockdown, in my opinion.
Like, here's the thing. There's more evidence that that's a low blow than it's not. It's just point blank. There's not enough evidence that's not a legal shot. There's just not. And
that's not true. You can't tell. Can you see where his belly button was, because his trunks were literally above his belly button?
That's the main reason why.
Yeah, but you can't approve or disapprove that. You can't approve or disapprove. Like that argument works both ways. You can't
disapprove that, because the thing about it is, half of that fist is underneath the belly button, is underneath the belt line. That's a low blow. Anything below that belt line, which was landed, half that fist is a low blow.
But once he landed, his trunks, I think, moved in a different way, and his body reacted. I'm saying at the actual time he lands, it's hard to tell where his belly button is, because his trunks are literally covering his belly button. In the amateur fight, his belly button is above his trunks, and that punch lands.
Ahmed, he wasn't hit on the belt line in that video you sent, man.
No, he was.
Well, I'm gonna go check it out. Give credit to that place again. Is it proper boxing?
I didn't see a butt line getting hit. I saw a fresh flesh getting hit. Not
Ahmed,
a butt line.
Was that proper boxing?
No. The one I posted, I think, is on Twitter.
Okay.
I think Drew will probably. The other one's more of a still. That's like going through the Dubois fight. But I'm talking about the amateur fight, because the amateur fight, his punch comes down, so it hits him on the belt line, and then he also, like Drew saying, a lot of the glove is hitting him below the belt line. But Usyk didn't complain. I think this was more of a heavier shot. Whether or not it affected him towards, below the navel, I don't know. I can't answer. Like, what was in Usyk? I think Usyk did milk it a bit, because he knew that he could be given 5 minutes, and Pabon has reffed his past fights, but I just think it was a case where Dubois had a puncher's chance and he landed that punch, and then hell broke loose. Like, we don't know what would have happened. Dubois did, I think, throw a couple of other shots which were low, but I don't know if Pabon called them. But like, people going on about he was getting outboxed, so he lost majority of the round. We already knew that, but I did see he had a better chance than a lot of other people were saying, because I thought he had like a 30% chance, but I'd always said Usyk should win this, either late TKO or maybe points. A lot of people said Usyk would blow him out, which I thought was a bit over the top.
No, I thought it was going to be competitive until it wasn't. Yeah. That's the way it turned out. But it'll be marred with that controversy for however long the boxing community wishes to, discuss the controversy. I think it'll be old news in a few weeks, and we'll be ready to move on with the Tyson Fury fighting Ngannou and the potential for the big matchup down the line between Usyk and Tyson Fury. Hey, Hamed, I was really happy to have you on the air. I got to wrap this show up, but since you're calling all the way from the UK, any predictions on this rematch this weekend of Chris Eubanks Jr. and beefy Liam Smith?
I think Liam Smith should win. The first fight, I saw Eubank was a favorite, but I saw Liam Smith had a chance over 12 rounds of the later one, but I did not expect Liam Smith to knock him out in 3 rounds. This fight, I think Liam Smith is the favorite. They both been active, but Eubank, I think his days may be numbered, because to me, it looks like his punch resistance may be gone, and he stayed at the weight too long, and he's being obviously kind of overrated, by especially the British public, because he hasn't really accomplished much, and a lot of his wins were against guys who are faded or past their best. But if I was to make a prediction, I would favor Liam Smith, but I wouldn't rule out Eubank if the fight goes longer than expected last time, because I do think Eubank has got the capability of maybe taking it to points, and then at that point, you never know. He could easily win a decision, whether or not it's debatable or not. But yeah, in terms of Dubois and Usyk, I don't think I need to see a rematch. I think Usyk obviously is the superior boxer and the better boxer. So if they fight like 10 times, 9 or 10 times, Usyk will probably outbox him and beat him. But I just thought it was one of those cases where Dubois had a puncher's chance and he landed a very good punch, but
and didn't necessarily get credit for it.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it's been bad by controversy, but like you said, it's not completely Usyk's fault, because the referee made the judgment. But thanks for taking my call.
Hey, Hamed, anytime. I appreciate it. Yes, it was my pleasure, man. Thanks for calling in.
All right. No worries. All right. Speak to you soon.
Thank you very much. Hey, Drew. All right, this weekend, it's a long weekend. I think you might have some plans. Maybe you might not catch boxing on Saturday night, but Liam Beefy Smith, I think he is going to pull this win. He's going to do it again. I think he's going to stop Chris Eubanks. Hamed made a good point, and it's that something happened with all these weight cuts and Chris Eubanks' life. I know he lives a pretty clean lifestyle, but I don't think he's right for taking punches to the face anymore. It was kind of weird how easy it was to knock him out.
Yeah, like Roy Jones said that Chris Eubank did not listen to him at all.
Well, then what kind of student was he going to be? Wow. So he took on Roy as his teacher, and he didn't listen to shit. He's just going to do whatever he wants to do.
That's one of the maybe why Roy Jones parted ways with him.
Yeah.
Like, Eubank.
What they say about Ryan Garcia, too.
Yeah, I think Eubank does not really have it in him. I don't like. Here's the thing. I think that he's more like his dad, and his dad was a bit. Hey, I can do. Think I can do what I want and everything in there. I'm the one fighting and everything, but you got the guys training you to tell you what to do, to give you the insight from the outside perspective.
Yeah.
So I don't.
His dad is a trip. His dad is a trip.
Show up with his dad as the trainer. Because last time he did, his dad was in the corner like this. Just looking at him like that, and then he did this. Just looking at him, didn't say shit to him. In his little shirtless dress shirt and bow tie, and vest,
he's a
no
trip.
sleeves on it, and everything. And he just looks at him like.
If you watch our show and you've never watched Conor Benn's father versus Eubank Sr., go back and watch that original fight. Those two fights were spectacular. Their version of great Mexican classic like Barrera versus Morales. Great fight. I anticipate the return of Michaela Mayer, who's still in my intro. Michaela Mayer fighting in the UK again, Drew. But what's interesting about Michaela, shout out to her. She bought her house in Las Vegas. She posted it on Twitter this week or the past week. So she'll be doing most of her training camps here now, splitting times between Colorado. But she's moving up to 100. I think she's competing at 140 pounds, Drew. She says she feels badass, strong. She feels this is a weight class for her. She did not talk, if at all, about what Alicia Baumgartner is going through in the past 2 weeks. And I found that really, really strange. But now that she's fighting at 140, maybe she's just going to be cool and play it and just let's just see how it all unfolds for Alicia. And maybe she'll get a rematch one day, maybe not. Maybe Alicia will be banned forever. Who knows? But Michaela's fighting at 140.
I think she doesn't need to mention her name.
There you go. Take the high road.
People are giving her as a, hey, you're still salty about that.
Right. And maybe she heard that and took it and was like, fuck it, I won't talk about her. I got my own thing going on. Moving up to 140 and has a real chance, a good chance of potentially picking up a world title at 140. So also they said that there's some really good heavyweight action on that. So I'm excited about that. That's all we got for tonight, guys. Appreciate you. Make sure you stay tuned and subscribe and hit that notification bell for the Shoe Shine. We appreciate you. Drew, I'm out. We'll see you next week, homie. Peace.